All right, yesterday, Matt Rhule at his press conference, you heard it right here on the Connor Happer Show. He had he had something that he wanted to tell us. He was not happy at halftime. Nebraska was up 33-0. It's not the scoreboard that made him unhappy. In fact, he would like his players to ignore the scoreboard entirely. He was mad on behalf of his team that the other team, the team that was down 33-0, felt as if they could push the ball down the field and got in position for a field goal that would have made it 33-3 at halftime. Of course, they missed it, doinked it to be exact. But Matt Rhule was not happy about the very thought from the Akron Zips that they had the gall to move it on Nebraska. Here's Matt Rhule yesterday on exactly how he was feeling in those moments.
That's what we were supposed to do at halftime. You know, last game we were supposed to win by that much. What I was pleased at, I went after them at halftime. I freaking lost it in the locker room. I was pissed that we let them drive the ball down right before the half and almost make a field goal. Like, where's the killer instinct, right? And that's my that's why I bring up the thing about Archie. Like, I don't want to be a joke. I don't want us to be I want us to be a football place, right? Football teams, you put away the people you're supposed to put away. You don't let them have life. So I wasn't happy before the half, right? And then, when we went to take a knee and they cut us, which I have no issue with what they did. That's something you do at the end of games. They just, their kids are trained to do that. I went after our O-line. Like, they don't fear you. Like, teams are supposed to come in and they're supposed to say, like, I never want to. They're supposed to walk up to their AD and be like, don't schedule them again. That's the mentality we're supposed to have. And that's where I went off in the locker room, the coaches and players. And it's not that I have it and they don't. I just want to make sure that's my job, right? It's not Matt Rhule. It's the head coach at Nebraska. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to. Well, you play these teams. They want to come here. They want to play here. They're supposed to never want to play here again.
So that's Matt Rhule. And as we said yesterday, he's kind of crazy. And there is definitely an element of what he is doing that is applicable to the here and now, because last week they played Akron, and this coming week they play Houston Christian. So to him, it's in those games in particular, it's definitely not about the scoreboard because you're going to win the football game. That is a given.
Got to stay sharp, though.
But you do have to stay sharp, and you do have to create some you have to manufacture an edge to the game. Sure. Michael Jordan,
famously,
he manufactured many, many edges.
And I took that personally.
The glove, he was nothing. I was not concerned about the glove. I had other stuff on my mind, and that led to that great montage in the Jordan doc from a couple years ago. So there is an element of this where he is definitely trying to motivate his team for the next 2 weeks, which is, by the way, all setting up for this Michigan game in less than 2 weeks now, where he wants to have his team not only prepared but also very confident going into that game. But he said that yesterday on the show, or on on the press conference during the show, and I thought, okay, did he really get after him at halftime? Like, I'm sure there was voices being raised in the locker room, but we got a video yesterday, courtesy of Will Compton, who I'm sure that Matt Rhule himself or somebody directed by Matt Rhule said, send this to Compton, have him tweet it out, and watch what happens after that.
100%.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
He could have sent it to me, by the way.
Yeah, we'll break news for the program.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. But he sent it to Will Compton. He probably has a little bit more reach than us.
Debatable.
Well, we're the ones giving away tickets to his show on this show. So
he's using us to promote him, though.
But he's not giving away YouTube links to our show during his show. So
okay,
he might be a little bit of a bigger deal than us, which is okay. And he does all the hype speeches, but Josh does the hype speeches too.
I do too.
Anyway, we thought, okay, what happened? What actually happened? And yesterday evening, we got the answer to what happened. Here is the video from halftime of Nebraska and Akron. Once again, context: Nebraska was leading 33-0, and the other team had just missed a field goal off the upright. This was not a competitive game. in the least. Here's Matt Rhule, psychopath, at halftime.
Maybe I just have a different standard. I don't like them freaking moving the ball. They're dropping back at the end of the half. Like, we're on the sidelines. Me and John are saying, they'll take a knee here. They'll run the ball. They don't fear you. They don't respect you enough yet. And if that sounds like coach speak, then you have the wrong brain. They're dropping back against our starting defense. They're cutting our own line at the end of the half. All you young guys, just go back there and chill. I want my opportunity. Some of you guys will get an opportunity right now. I told you I don't care what the score is. I told you I care what the tape looks like. Did I trip when the ball was fumbled? No, I don't care what happens in the game. I want to see what the next play is. You have one half. Defense, you have one half. If they try to drop back and throw it, and that quarterback's not on the ground, I want new guys in there rushing. I want them hit. I want them never to say our name again. You believe the fact with 43 seconds left, they just gave us the ball back. They went down 33 and they're still dropping back. They had the balls to cut you. I thought you guys get the ball. You put it down and score. You made me put the freaking red and the white in. And you guys get in, you go play. I don't care what the score is. Troy told you shutouts are precious. We almost gave them a shutout. I don't want them ever to say our name again. That's the killer instinct I asked about. Not what does my hair look like, what do I look like in the freaking mirror. I walk in here, guys in the mirror checking themselves out. Got a chance at a shutout. You guys got a chance of freaking hanging a score around here we haven't hung in a long time. We don't work hard enough to go take what we want? Go take what you want. You want to get in the game? DJ, you run your ass off on all those routes all week? Now you got a chance to get in the game, maybe. If your brother and your brothers will put them away. It's about time people say, I don't want to schedule those guys anymore. I don't want to play those guys anymore. And if my standard's too high, then leave. And if you're with me, go out there and do not, I don't want to see a smile. I don't want to see nothing silly. I want to see a bunch of guys locked in that wants to make a team quit. That they, I don't know why he showed you guys Bronx Tale at the end of it. You know what he said to that guy after beat out that biker gang? He said, look at me. I did this to you. He wasn't scared to make sure that guy knew who he was. I did this to you. When you're shaking their hand at the end of the game, they better have that look in their eye. You did it to them. It's supposed to be 33-0. It's supposed to be that score. Now, what's the second half supposed to look like? I'll see you guys on the field.
Let's go.
What do you think about that, Josh? That is awesome.
I would like to present a theory.
I love it. By the way, what movie was that from? What that reference at the end there? Something about taking down a biker gang and saying, I did this to you.
Oh.
Is that from something? Because that was a reference to something, right?
I missed it.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Someone in the chat
knows.
I'd like to present a theory.
Okay, Josh has a theory. Stay tuned.
I want to be crystal clear about this on the front end. I believe that was real.
Wait a minute.
Because just hear me out. I don't believe that was performative. I believe that is Matt Rhule's genuine feelings. He's trying to keep his team sharp. I believe the reason he said it yesterday and the reason we saw it on social media, courtesy Will Compton.
Thank you, Will.
You plant a story so that the writers, the scribes, if you will, all of us here in, Talking Headville, don't say, well, 68-0. The team's great. Team's doing great. And so trickles back down to the locker room. So they read their press clippings. They hear what everyone's saying. They're like, oh, we're great. We're great. We don't have to focus on Houston Christian.
So I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
So here's how I would sort of put it. There have been games where Nebraska has had a great first half. I'm thinking about Colorado last year.
Yeah.
They're 28-0 at halftime, and everybody's happy, and it's a festive mood. And then the second half happens, and there was really never a doubt that Nebraska was still going to win that game. They were always going to win that game, right? They were always – once they were up 28-0 at halftime, they were always going to win that game. But how did it feel when you walked out of that stadium that night? How did it feel last week in Kansas City when they were up 13-3? They had a chance to go up 20-3, and they only won 20-17. It's nice, but it's not. It doesn't result in this. It doesn't result in what we had on Big Red Overreaction on Saturday night, which is people being happy and celebratory and saying, because here's what we saw in the game, the overwhelming evidence suggests that Nebraska is good at football. There wasn't any Nebraska beat Akron 44-14, but Akron kind of hung around for a while. That was a game in the second half. Penn State was up on FIU 10-0 at halftime on Saturday. So people could look at Penn State now and they could say, well, they won whatever it was, 42-10 or something like that. But they were only up 10-0 at halftime. Like, what's up with that? Let's take a look at that. Nebraska was up 33-0 at halftime, and they won 68-0. It is unassailable. You cannot say anything about Nebraska's performance from that game. They did, not necessarily, because people are saying they did what they were supposed to do. I didn't think Nebraska would win 68-0 in that game, but they had their foot on the throat, and they pressed down.
And they handed it to the second string, and they kept their foot on it. And they handed it to the third string, and they continued to play.
They did not have their foot on the throat and let off it. They did not let them have a breath of air in the second half. So, what does that mean in the win-loss category? Like nothing. They were going to win that game, whether it was going to be 42-14 or 68-0 or somewhere in between. They were always going to win that game. And so from that perspective, it doesn't actually matter. But it does matter for how you want your team to feel. So they're going to go into this Houston Christian game this week, and they're obviously motivated, right?
I would imagine there would not be a second half letdown in that game.
Because they have now this to think about. This is what the standard is. You're going to do the same exact thing to them as you did to Akron this past week. It sets a higher bar, right? It sets an expectation. So maybe, and I get the sense this is all just leading, I mean, obviously, just from a chronological standpoint, it's obviously leading all toward the Michigan game. But this is all leading toward the Michigan game. These next 2 weeks, there is going to be so much optimism around the fan base. There is going to be so much optimism as it pertains to Nebraska football in general from around the country. People are going to say good things about Dylan Raiola. People are going to say good things about their defense, especially if they pitch another shutout or something like that. People are going to say good things about their wide receivers. They might be in the top 25 if they smash Houston Christian by 100 this week. There's going to be a lot of optimism. Nebraska is going to score 70 in this, or whatever it might be this weekend, or maybe it's 55-7 or something like that. They're probably going to allow less than 10. All the players will have great stats going into this weekend. Now, this probably still doesn't beating a team with a pulse, but they have to find the things that they can take out of this game. There is something very clean and very fun and very non-stressful about beating the living hell out of someone back-to-back cupcakes in this game, and that's exactly what it's been. And we know what the opponents are, but there's been times in the Matt Rhule era and at many points over the last 10 years where Nebraska's played these teams, and they're just like, yeah, I know it was 42-7, or I know it was, 34-3 against Northern Iowa last year, but it just wasn't right.
Right.
There's something that wasn't right about it. So it's not about running up the score. It's not about like that number that's on the scoreboard at the end of the game being fake. It's about how the team feels. And coming off of last week in Kansas City, I don't think very many people felt good about that. We were at Arrowhead Stadium in the parking lot at a camper, an RV, doing Big Red Overreaction, and people were walking out of the stadium like they had just experienced a prize fight and they were exhausted.
Yes.
It was like, oh my God, now I could take a deep breath. Thank God we got away with that one. Let's go home, and that's it. It wasn't like, let's drink 6 more beers in the parking lot until the sun comes up. It wasn't like that.
No.
And I assume the team felt that a little bit as well. It was good to get out of there with a win, of course, but it's about how it makes you feel. And this team is clearly still in the mental state of like, hey, we got to get the ball rolling a little bit.
Yeah.
And so he thinks, in my mind, if they feel good and they have just got done kicking the crap out of nobodies for the last 2 weeks, then that will translate into playing well, or at least having your chest puffed out a little bit when Michigan comes to town. When Nebraska played Ohio State in 2019, in that game that was College game day. Maybe they had their chest puffed out, but they had just barely beaten Illinois. They had lost to Colorado already. And it was like, yeah, we can do this today. It wasn't like this. It reflects in the crowd, right? Last year when they played Colorado at home, it was bloodthirsty, right? They want it to be bloodthirsty in that stadium, both on the sideline and in the stands on next Saturday when they play Michigan. They want it to feel like there is an edge to it. And that's what he is, artificially or unartificially, that is what he has created or is creating right now.
It's sort of the perspective of age, right? Where Matt Rhule is the adult in the room telling these, while they are adults, they are also children. Right. Hey, I know it feels great to make a play. It feels great. You wanna get your clicks and all that. But I'm telling you, as the adult in the room, 68-0 will feel better.
Yep.
Just trust me on this. I need you to have a little blind faith. Come with me on the journey. The macro will feel so much better than one play, buckle your seatbelt, and show off for the cameras.
So now I know we have the tendency to think a little bit cynically, and we like to make fun of Rhule a lot. But make no mistake about it, this is the right way to play it.
Yes.
This is the right way to play it. If Nebraska putzes around and they beat these two cupcakes, handily but not soundly in these 2 weeks, then you just don't feel, you don't walk into that Michigan game the same way. Nebraska is going to walk into Michigan with their chest puffed out and ready to attack in that game if they maintain the same thing this coming Saturday against Houston Christian, which you would expect them to, obviously, at this point. But it's something different. It's not reflected in the score. It's just reflected in how you play. A sound and resounding butt kicking. We have to make them never schedule us again. We have to, and you're going to hear this in this clip right now. We have to, when they come shake your hand in the game, you want them to look at you like they're little tiny dogs,
big
like,
strong men with tears in their eyes.
Please don't do that again. Don't take my food away. I don't want to see you ever again. But good game. Here's Matt Rhule a little bit further from the press conference yesterday on that attitude.
I thought we were focused the whole game. I did not like the last drive, and as much as anything, it wasn't even, it's just for them understanding, like, you're not playing to score more points than the other team. There's a standard that we want to play at, and if the other team with 46 seconds left is dropping back and throwing the ball, they don't respect you. They don't respect your pass rush. They should take a knee and go into the half and try to regroup, but that's not what they did. And so you should take that personally. When they take the ball and they defer to start the game, when they win the toss and defer, that means they think it's going to be a game in the second half, which I think is the right way to play, by the way. But like, these are things as a player, like, if you have to have an edge to yourself. And so if the edge only comes from, like, well, we're playing a ranked team, then that's the disease of average. Like, you have to find an edge every single week, because there's a man lined up against you that thinks he can beat you. And so you have to beat him. And at the end of the game, he's either going to shake your hand and say, I can play at your level. I'm good enough to play at Nebraska. Or he's going to shake your hand and put his eyes down and be like, hey, good luck the rest of the way and get ready for his season. And so that's the mindset we're trying to get across to our guys. We've been trying to get that across since year one. But we're also trying to tell them, like, hey, you also have to go to class during the season. Like, what? I have to go to class too? Yeah, you have to go to class too. So, like, there's like steps to this thing. And so I think now we're at this step, like, we're looking for competitive greatness. Preparation leads to poise and confidence, which leads to competitive greatness. And even though the situation, like, you get in the game and you're up by 60 points, is that competitive greatness? Well, for some of our guys, yeah. It was their chance to play. And you know what? Ashton Murphy ripped through and got a sack. I mean, he can't control when he gets in the game, but he can certainly control what he does when he gets in there. And so that's what we're looking for this week. And so if we go out there this week, or we go out there at practice this week, and we think we're a good team, and we start listening to that disease, just like I tell them, don't listen to the noise when everybody's saying, you guys can't do this, you can't do that. Also don't listen when they say you can do this. That's just the film. What does the film say?
What does the film say? What does the
film say? See, if I could produce music, another parody
You could
song.
produce music. You have produced.
I don't think I'm very good at it.
You are a producer, Josh. Don't let anybody tell you different.
More of a content producer.
So let's throw in this. Let's throw in this little curveball. What if Nebraska doesn't beat the living hell out of Houston Christian this weekend?
Anarchy in the streets.
And I don't know what that is. I don't know what that looks like. What if they don't soundly and resoundingly beat the living hell out of Houston Christian this weekend? And by the way, I'm not expecting 68-0. I think that team that they played really sucked.
Yeah, they are not good.
Really, truly sucked. And I know that this is a lower level, an FCS team. There's a chance that they're better, right? There's a chance that Houston Christian kind of has their act together a little bit. As I said yesterday about Akron was not only bad because they were a lower level than what Nebraska plays at, but they're also bad. They're not in the right places and they don't do the right things.
Yes.
It's very possible that Houston Christian could be in the right places and do the right things, but obviously they're going to be physically outmatched by Nebraska on both sides of the ball. So what happens if they win, 38-7 this week?
That's probably not a fun Big Red overreaction.
Does it take the air out of the sails a little bit? He has set them up kind of for, I think kind of has to happen again.
I think you'd get it back pretty quick because there's a big game on the back end of Houston Christian, right? Like you'd
get through it.
You'd talk yourself into it pretty quick, right?
Yep. I think so.
Like, Michigan freshman quarterback didn't look great against Oklahoma. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it would just immediately once that game ends, it's going to be all about the Michigan game anyway.
Yeah.
But
easier to flush than
it definitely feels a lot different. I mean, there is something to how it feels right now. I mean, the fan base is confident in the team. The team is confident in the team, and if it doesn't look the same this next weekend, then I don't know where the confidence will be about the group. Platcat says his hands move so much. Talking about Rhule doing a little bit of this. Yeah, he is. He's. It's okay to say it. He is really performative in these press conferences. He is trying to send a message to his team and the fan base and all that stuff. Like he
cedes control, that's more of his job.
Yes. He controls the tone of things. And if the tone is like, well, yeah, we beat Akron and beat Houston Christian, and I don't really know what we are going into this whole Michigan thing. If that's the tone, obviously he wouldn't say that, but if that's the tone, then that tone is reflected throughout everybody else. He's trying to set a tone, right? So he's demonstrative, but he's using his hands. He's doing all sorts of things.
He's the puppet master.
He's doing all sorts of things like this. Like in this, by the way, Matt Rhule asked about his fans showing up.
His fans?
The Matt Rhule, the Nebraska fans.
Oh,
of course. Might it be a little bit different this week? How do you gin up the energy and the excitement within the fan base for an 11 o'clock FCS game? Might there be a little bit of a might you notice a little bit of a difference?
Oh.
Here's Matt Rhule yesterday.
Our fans are going to show up at Legacy Walk. They're going to be.
I'm going to go back to the game.
Our fans are going to show up at Legacy Walk. They're going to be like they were last week, and they're going to show up to the game, and they're going to be amazing. Because I'm just telling you, man. Like I sat there with the recruits, and I was like, all right, listen, you're going to. Where'd you go last week? I went to here. I went here in the. Okay, look up there at the student section. Was it like that an hour before the game? Like, look at it. Look at it. At the other game, I'm like looking at people. I'm like, look how many people are still here at the game.
Not our fans. Not our fans. When he knows damn well the fans are going to have less of an edge to them this week because it's an 11 o'clock game against Houston Christian. Of course, they're going to have less of an edge to them this week. But he's like, not our fans. Our fans are great. This is what we sell in recruiting. They're going to be there, even though they're not going to be there. Like, they're not going to be there as much this week. But he's trying to set a tone, and he's trying to send a message. That's what he's doing when he's up there, when he's flipping his hands all around and doing all this crazy stuff.